calls here. Zeke in Portland. Hey, Zeke, what's on your mind today?
Well, Tom, you may have missed this. I just happened on it by good fortune on the internet yesterday. It's an article in Newsweek. The United States of America has tens of thousands of HIMARS upgrade rockets in warehouses in Germany waiting to be destroyed at taxpayer expense. According to Dan Rice, who's a graduate of West Point, former Army officer who was instrumental in getting the White House to approve. You may remember in July there was a big hoo-ha about sending cluster munitions, 155 millimeter artillery shells to Ukraine, and everybody, a lot of people, not everybody, were wringing their hand. Oh, we can't do this because it's going to be a danger to civilians, et cetera, et cetera. The upgrade HIMARS rockets are designed to kill artillery. Now, the Russians call artillery the god of war. It has always been, if you know anything about their order of battle, it is all built around artillery. And they have thousands of artillery pieces raining death and destruction down on the Ukrainians, who have been slowed way down by the fortifications and the mining that has been done over the last better part of a year. Right. The so-called Surovikin line. Okay, according to Dan Rice, this guy, he's a former American officer. If he were ordered to take his troops into battle without this weapon that I'm talking about, he would not do it. He would resign his commission.
Right, the HIMARS. So are you saying that we're withholding, because we have given HIMARS weaponry to Ukraine, have we not? I'm certain I've heard that before.
Yeah, we have given HIMARS, and this is part of from my perspective, this is part of the beauty of it. The HIMARS rocket launchers are already in Ukraine. What they don't have in Ukraine is this upgrade missile that has a range of 28 miles as opposed to 15 miles.
Do they use the same launchers?
They use the same launchers. The launchers are there, ready to go.
So why aren't we giving them the ones that we have in Germany that we're going to destroy? Are they obsolete? Are they unreliable because they're old?
Not. Yeah, you're asking really, really good questions, Tom. And I'll tell you, I have believed for some time that Biden and Blinken have no intention of allowing Russia to lose this war. They have, Biden,
they're fighting for a stalemate. They're afraid that if he loses, it'll start a nuclear war or something. Is that where you're going with this, Zeke?
That is probably what they're thinking. I mean, every time Putin or his little butt boy, Dmitry Medvedev, 5'4" Dmitry Medvedev, waves a nuke in their face, Blinken and Biden have to run off and change their depends.
I wouldn't say that. They have stood up to that, and they in fact they've ridiculed. Blinken has ridiculed some of those comments, about we're gonna threaten you with nukes. I don't think it's terrifying them. But I do understand the idea that if Putin knows that if he loses in Ukraine, he's going to be killed by his own people. It's going to be the end, not just of his political career, it's going to be the end of his life. And so, postponing his demise, well, let me rephrase that. And if he thinks his actual personal life is in danger, he would be perfectly willing, in my opinion, to kill millions of people with nuclear weapons, maybe even tens or hundreds of millions of people. And, I think a rational leadership of the United States would want to try to avoid that, don't you think, Zeke?
What you're telling me that if Putin thinks he's going down, he's going to nuke the planet? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that he would probably start by using tactical nuclear weapons in Ukraine, which he's already talked about doing. My theory is that he would launch them out of Belarus and he would blame it on the Wagner Group so that he had some plausible deniability. And then and Europe are confronted, NATO is then confronted with the crisis. What do we do in response to the use of a nuclear weapon? If we don't do anything, we've just ratified.
Well,
Go ahead.
Are you aware of Senate resolution?
I'm not by name. Fill me in.
Okay. Well, it simply says that if any tactical nukes are used on Ukraine by Russia, it will be considered an attack on NATO. Article 5 will be invoked, and Russia will be at war with NATO.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I don't think so either, and that's my point. I'm not taking a position here, Zeke. Please be clear. I'm not saying that I think we should drag this war out. I would love to see the war end, and I would love to see Putin decisively defeated. But if the strategy is, let's hope that Putin gets deposed before the war ends, and that is the thing that ends the war, that would be a more desirable end to the war than ending the war on military terms and causing, and that provoking, or nearly ending the war on military terms, and that provoking Putin into the use of nuclear weapons. I mean, this has got to be keeping people at the State Department and the Pentagon up at night. It certainly, I wouldn't want to be in the position of having to make these decisions.
Well, with all due respect, Tom, you're contradicting yourself. You were saying a few minutes ago that Blinken has kind of heaped scorn on this whole idea, of Russia and their nukes.
Yep.
And now you're telling me we can't have Ukraine win because
no, I'm not telling you that. I'm saying I understand both. Both of these arguments are very clear to me, and I don't know which is the best. I have no idea. I'm not a military strategist. But I see these I understand, I hear, I get these arguments, Zeke, and I think your points are very, very well made. I don't have any easy answers here. I don't think there are any easy answers. Zeke, thank you for the call. Thanks for a thoughtful and thought-provoking conversation. I appreciate it.